All right, I'm just gonna go with it. It's kind of difficult for me to look straight into the camera, but hi everybody, it's me again, Shay with Plant Essence, and I know that it's been quite a bit of time since the last time that I made a quick video about plants and stuff like that. I've been very busy as everybody's life has been, busy as well. So I figured I'd take the time out to really, start doing this again. So, but welcome back. Thank you so much. And I wanted to switch gears here just a bit and talk about another plant species. And they say it's not species, but genus, plant genus that I actually have quite a few of them that's in my collection. And I particularly have this particular plant type on the, second level of my house because I just love to admire them. And when I first started my plant journey, I was not at all interested in these plants because I didn't know much about them. And as I started to look at different vloggers and enthusiasts, I was like, wow, I really like this plant. And one of the things that I really like about it is that it blooms. And when it blooms, it smells what I heard, because mine haven't bloomed yet, not a single one of them. I'm a little upset about that, but I'll get to that. It doesn't bloom. It blooms and it smells like perfume. And they said it blooms at night. When it blooms at night, the perfume is really, really intense. And I'm just waiting for it to get like that, And typically when it blooms, it's the more mature plants. And I do have quite a few of these mature plants, but let me not keep you in suspense much. But I'm talking about the Hoya. And the Hoya, and it's spelled Hoya, Hoya. It's commonly known as the wax plant, or some folks call it the porcelain flower, but typically the wax plant. I've heard that term before. They're native to places like tropical rainforests and places like Asia, in India, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines. You get it. Those really exotic types of places. And they really thrive in humid environments. Hence, you see the humidifier kind of going in the back of me. If you can see the little mist. They're also they're epiphytes, where they actually don't have to grow in soil. They can grow on like a tree, but all the Hoyas that I have in my collection are actually in some type of soil, but it's a well-drained soil. Most tropical plants don't like to be in really heavy, dense soil. It can cause root rot. But this is a Hoya, as you can see here, and it's a very lovely Hoya. And these Hoya species, they have some really odd names, and don't get me with some of the names and some of the spellings. It's quite complex. But this particular one is called a Hoya Wayetii variegata. So it's variegated. The kind of like the cousin or the sibling to this would be the all green version of it. So, and I'll show you why they call it the wax plant, which is really, really interesting. So as you can see, it looks like really like, oh, and it kind of looks like the leaves would be a little bit thin, but they're not. They're waxy. So I'm actually pinching it a little bit, but it's actually resisting my pinch because these leaves hold the water. So that's a really good, feature of these plants, is because the water's held on here, which means they're kind of like succulent and you don't have to water them often. They actually thrive on neglect. They're low maintenance, so you don't have to really worry too much about them. And this particular one, I don't know why my camera's moving. I think it's me. Sidebar, guys. I saw some of my videos, and I do apologize. My eyes were all over the place, and I'm trying not to do that now. Why are you moving, camera? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay, sorry. I'm still getting used to this editing, but anyway. But yeah, this it holds the water, so it's very succulent. So you can kind of think about your snake plants. Those plants, they hold the water inside of their leaves and they just thrive on neglect. And you just put them in a bright spot. You make sure you give them water. You make sure you give them food every now and then, little plant food, and you make sure they're free of pests, and they are the best. This particular one is, I think it's a combination, maybe 2 or 3 plants, and I mean, I'm telling you, these plants were small. They were tiny, and I'll show you a picture of what they look like. I'll kind of like see if I can slide it in here when I first got it. And this particular one, and when I tell you, I put it under my Sanseacrow light and it just took off. And when you give it enough light, depending on like the variety that you have, this one's variegated, okay? And if you give it enough light, it will turn the leaves pink. And that's like sun stressing. And you have to be careful, because if you give it too much light, you can burn, even though these are high tolerant of, high light. They're tolerant of high light. You can still burn those. They become pinkish black, like really ruby. You don't want to get too far as far as like the sun stressing. But when I tell you, these leaves are just beautiful. It looks like lipstick. Like if you ever had like lipstick on and it kind of like throughout the day kind of fades after a while, it kind of looks like that. Not you don't want it on your lips, but it actually looks really good on the plant. So I really appreciate that. They also have different types of I guess subgenus, where there's Hoya carnosa. And there's, I talked about the whole Wayetii. This was the variegated one. I'll show you what the full grain one looks like, and the one that I have is actually trailing. Then they have other ones that are a little different. This is called Freckles Splash, and it has little freckles in it. And listen, guys, I got this sucker from Home Depot for like $4 last year. And it has grown, even though it's not like, oh, that's not a substantial plant. For this Hoya, it kind of is. Like, this has really been putting out some really great leaves. Sometimes when the leaves come in, they come in a little darker, but then they, come, as they mature, they turn to the full green. So it's doing quite well. And this one actually did have a little bit of thrips. It was and it's hard to kind of see the actual insect, but it was eating up the back of the leaves. So I took off any leaf that was infected, and I did treat it with some pesticide, which really helped it out. But it's so cute, and I have it in this little Buddha head, and yeah. So I also wanted to show you what type of soil it's in. So this one, I have it in a clear container, and you see that the substrate or the soil, it's pretty dry. But just because it's dry doesn't mean, oh gosh, I gotta go water it. You don't have to do that. You don't want to water Hoyas on a schedule. You want to water them when they're thirsty. They'll tell you, and they'll tell you by, if you pinch the leaves and they don't crinkle, kind of like, if your skin is like dehydrated, it'll wrinkle up. The same thing with these Hoyas. They will actually crinkle up, but I don't, if I press too hard, I might crack the leaf and it'll damage it. But I know this one is just perfectly fine. It has that wax consistency. It's succulent, has enough water stored in there and in the leaves, so that if another week goes by, it'll be just fine. Maybe even 2 weeks. But again, they thrive on neglect. They're low maintenance. You really don't have to worry too much about watering on the schedule, like I said. Also pests. These are, I really don't have many problems with pests with my Hoyas. I have had with my other Hoyas, which I'll show you in a minute. mealy bugs, but you can kind of see those and they're really easy to get rid of. I just put a little dotted with some alcohol and, you know, maybe even take it into the bathtub and like hose it down and then sprayed it with some neem oil, and it's perfectly fine. And I really don't have many issues with it. The other thing with Hoyas is that they like to be snug in their pot. Like you see, this is the dirt. I won't have to repot this for a very long time. Even if the roots are kind of wrapping around here, they like to be nice and snug. They like to be mostly root bound, which is mostly roots and not so much substrate. They like to be nice and tight in here. And once it gets nice and tight in here, then it starts to really like really unfurl new leaves and just concentrate on growing leaves instead of just concentrate on growing roots. That's the thing. Like if the pot is too large, plants typically will concentrate on filling the pot up with roots, and you're like, why aren't there any new leaves coming? It's still alive, but there's no new leaves coming. That's probably because the pot size is too large for it. But like I said, this one it's about 2 or 3 smaller plants in here, and it's just like exploded. And then I did have it in a plastic nursery pot for some time, and I transported it into this terracotta pot. And I think honestly, terracotta pots with Hoyas are really good because the terracotta, they're porous. So let's say you're a little heavy-handed on watering, the terracotta will draw up the water, and the root of the plant won't just be sitting in water. And that's good for plants like this. That's really good for plants like this. They don't like to be sitting in water. So, but these are some of the two. So let me switch gears here a bit. And I'm going to show you some of my other Hoyas and kind of give you the rundown. So just bear with me. Okay, so let me take you over here to my little plant nook here. So this one here is another type of Hoya. So this is the Hoya Australis Lisa, and this is actually 2 plants. This one here is the first part of the plant I got. And let me tell you, it's small. It's about 2 inches. And it took forever just to put out these 3 leaves. I'm going to tell you. But once they start going, they really kind of take off, you know. The first year you get any type of plant, even a Hoya, doesn't matter what genus it is. The rule of thumb is the first year they kind of sleep. The second year they creep, and then the third year they leap. So I'm hoping by, because I got this probably in the winter of last 2024, and right now it's in June. So I think by the end of this year, it should really start to kind of leap, or excuse me, creep. It'll creep a little bit. So, but it took forever to put out these 3 leaves, and then I recently got this one to kind of like, you know, nudge it along, give it some company, so, and make it into a fuller plant. So that's this one here. So, all right. So let me, let's see, do I have another Hoya here? No, not right now. So let me go on the other side where I have probably the most of my Hoyas. So here, and you can actually see the waxiness of the plant. It's very shiny. I didn't put any type of leaf shiner on it. It's just shiny just naturally, and it's very succulent. I don't want to squeeze it too hard because, again, like I said, it'll crack it. But this is the Hoya Albo carnosa, and they say it's like carnosa because some of the stems are like pinkish, and then some of the flowers come out very pink, and it's just a beautiful plant. And when I tell you, let me just pull it out so you can see the fullness of the plant. When I tell you this plant was tiny, it was very small. And you can see how it's just like really taken off and put out some beautiful leaves. And some of the leaves are actually white, which it's nice to have white leaves, but you know, sometimes you don't want to get excited about it because white leaves and very lightly colored leaves do not have chlorophyll. So they very quickly die. So you get excited and then all of a sudden they die. But I don't find that with my Hoyas. Like I can have white leaves and they stay for months. It takes months for them to die out, which is really great. So this is one Albo. Again, I got this one from like Home Depot. It was maybe 12 bucks. It was really small. But it's really taken off. And then the sister to this one, it's this is the right. This is another Albo, but this one actually I got from an Etsy shop, an Etsy plant shop. Let me show you how it has a long trail. It's just so beautiful. And again, I put these in the terracotta pots because they don't like to be in wet soil. So, but it's just happy. And when I got it, it was so small and it just compact in the mail. And then it had a little tendril that trailed a little bit, but not much. But now it's I'd say it's about 2 feet long in length. And it's just happy, thriving. And let me put it back here. So it's happy, thriving. And it's next to, it's another prolific grower right here. Sorry, I'm just trying to put this up right. This is the Hoya Pubicalyx. And I put it around this trellis because the tendrils were just going everywhere, which it still is. Like, and by the way, if you ever get a Hoya, do not cut these. Even though there's no leaves on this, you don't want to cut these because new leaves can actually form. And let me see if I can get it a little closer, you can see. But there's some tiny little growth that's happening here. I don't know if I can focus in on it. You can probably see a little bit there, but you don't want to do that. The other reason why you don't want to cut these is that's where the blooms come. And I'll see if I could etch it in there, but the blooms come, they're beautiful. And they create something called peduncles. And then it's the peduncles, and then there's something called umbrals, which looks like it's kind of short for like umbrella because the peduncles kind of look like an umbrella, if you may. And that's where the blooms come, and you don't want to cut this and then all of a sudden you don't have any blooms. But that when you're plant enthusiast, enthusiast, that's like your prize. When your plants bloom, that's your reward for doing a good job. When they bloom, they say, "Hey mom, hey dad, I'm happy. You're taking care of me." But even though I don't have any of my Hoyas bloom, I do have, let me just switch gears here a bit. This is a totally different genus, but this is my begonia. I got this about 2 months ago, and this sucker just blooms and blooms and blooms. and some of the blooms just like kind of fall all over. But this is saying to me, you're doing something right. So once you see the blooms, you're like, you get all this confidence in your ability, and you just kind of like make it happen. So just a sidebar there. Then we have here, this is called the Hoya Chouke. Chouke. Hoya Chouke. Yeah. This one I got from an Etsy shop, and when I got it, it just was not putting out hardly anything. And all of a sudden it just kind of just spurted up and just like, hey, I'm happy, you're doing something right. And I actually had to move it from the little plant boxes over here into this area where I have the Soltech grow light here. But I heard this one puts out beautiful smelling blooms, so I can't wait for that to actually happen. So let me take you to another part. This is over here in this room. I have plants everywhere, guys. So this one here, let me see if I could turn on give it some more light because it's kind of dark in here. This one here is the Hoya Wayetii. This is not the variegated one. This is just a full green one. And I got this one here from Home Depot. It was an established plant already. But it has grown substantially since I've gotten it, particularly in the top part of it. It did have quite a bit of a bold patch, but no more, because it's sitting here next to the south-facing window. And then here's another, again, the Hoya Wayetii Variegated. Now, there's hundreds of Hoyas. I mean, I cannot count how many Hoyas there are in the world. But the Hoya Wayetii Variegated sometimes gets confused with the Hoya Kentiana. So I'm not even sure if it may be the Kentiana. You guys let me know, I don't know, in the comments if you know what kind of plant this is. But let me quickly take this one down. I got it from an Etsy shop. It was called the Bronx Plant Lady, and she has some beautiful plants. But I put it here. It's sun stressing just beautifully. It's snug in this nice pot here, and it does not need watering. As you can see, I'm pinching the leaf slightly, and I don't want to pinch too hard because I might crack the leaf. Okay, so that's that one. Let's see. And then here we have the Hoya Crimson Princess. Okay, this one I got again from Home Depot. And this one, they call it crimson because some of the tendrils, they come out very pinkish, and they can get really sun stressed and look very very crimson. And the princess variety is they wear the white variegation inner, and the outer is typically green, kind of like this leaf. There's also the Hoya Crimson Queen, which I have over here, which I'll show you. But this is the princess. So that's how you distinguish the two. The princess wears the dress, the white dress. The queen wears the white crown. That's how they classify them. But this is an absolutely stunning plant. It just grows. It's happy. I hardly ever water it. Like I said, you don't want to water Hoyas on a schedule. Okay, every Saturday I'm going to water my Hoyas. They'll be upset with you. They'll get root rot and they'll die. You don't want to do that. Okay, these plants thrive on neglect, very similar to your succulents or your Sansevieria snake plants, stuff like that. Here's another Hoya I have down here. And this is a Hoya teacup. And it looks like a little teacup. And when I got it, this tendril had not burst out. There was so few leaves, you could just count how many leaves on, it was just maybe 5 or 6 leaves. But since I put it in this window, it's just been thriving. It's happy. I might repot it because right now it's still in its nursery pot. I might repot it into an actual teacup. But I do want to make sure it has a drainage hole in it because you don't want these plants to be sitting in water. But yeah, I put it in the south-facing window and make sure that it gets, ample light. And then here, I'll take this one here. This is the Hoya Crimson Queen. So the leaf formation is a little bit different. They're a little bit more elongated and than the Hoya Crimson Princess, where the leaf shape is a little bit more slightly oval. This one here is a little bit more narrow form, and then they do get sun stressed here around the edges. But again, to distinguish the queen from the princess, the queen wears the white crown around, where the princess wears the variegation in the inner. But this one was so tiny when I got it. And it's just been growing. It's happy. It's, it puts out new leaves all the time. I'm very proud of what this particular plant has done. There's some leaves that are dying, but that's to be expected. But it puts out these white leaves, and they stay for months. They don't. If a white leaf dies, another one will be in its place. And then right here in the back, this is called the Hoya, not marginata. Oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. It's Hoya Macrophylla. So yeah, that's the Hoya Macrophylla. Some of the leaves come in extra variegated. Eventually they will die off, but I guess I'm giving it so much light that they're coming in very like whitish. You would think that they're yellow, like, ooh, this plant's sick, but no, it's not actually sick. There's actually little leaves coming here constantly. They're constantly pushing out leaves, but this is an absolute stunner plant. I put it on this trellis, and Hoyas do really, really well on trellises, so I made sure that I put it on certain ones on a trellis, since they're doing so fantastic. But those are the Hoyas that I have here. I may have some that I've missed, but yeah. Okay, I'm back. Ooh, it's a hot day. It's a hot day. It's humid. And then I have that humidifier going. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my Hoya collection so far. I just wanted to kind of make it kind of brief or whatever, but eventually I'll go a little bit more into depth as to maybe a specific Hoya. So kind of like really go into it, maybe do a repotting or some sort, or really get into it. But yeah, I wanted to share with you those my brief Hoya collection. I'll definitely turn it into some other type of genus plant, type of genus plant, type of a different type of plant genus, and share with you those. But that I wanted to start there with the Hoyas, and get your feedback. Please, let me know what type of things you like to see. I'm open to feedback. So, but thank you as always, and yeah, you guys have a great day, and and if plants is something you want to get into, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely do my best to help you get started on it. It's something that I really, really enjoy. So, and I hope you enjoy the content that I'm giving you and enjoy your plants. So till then, take care. Bye.